So could Sony be working on the PS Vita 2 or, next iteration of a handheld, or maybe something entirely completely? Well, apparently, according to some reports that have been coming out, PlayStation, Sony has some kind of unannounced hardware that they're going to be releasing sometime before the rumored PS4 Pro. Now, of course, as with everything, rumors, take it with a grain of salt. We don't know for sure, right? This is just, one person's word. That said, some people in the industry do have insiders and are credible sources, and this seems to be coming from one of those credible sources. So all that to say, I do want to ask you guys before we jump into the meat of this, do you guys think that Sony could release maybe not a PS Vita 2, but the next, whatever PlayStation handheld? Do you see that being the case? Because here's the thing. If they do that, they have 3 platforms to then support, right? They have the PS5, which is going to be their main thing. And then, of course, they have the PSVR 2. Some people will say, well, the PSVR 2, you could kind of look at that like it's just an accessory to the PS5 because you need a PS5 to use it. Sure, but it's its own ecosystem, right? There's games specifically for the PSVR 2. That's kind of the point. It doesn't matter if it's an accessory. It's not like you just pop it on and play any game you want in VR. That's not how it works. They need to build VR specific modes for flat screen games or VR specific games, right? Like Horizon Call of the Mountain. So it is its own ecosystem that they would still have to support. And then if they come out with some kind of new mobile kind of device, well, then you got a third one to support there as well. So that's kind of the big question. Now, this report is actually coming from Tom Henderson. I'm going to throw up first the report from PlayStation Lifestyle. We'll check what they had to say about it, how they quoted him, and then we'll check the direct quote right after. So I'll throw it up right now. You guys take a look. So it says, unannounced Sony hardware coming before PS4 Pro, rumor. They said, we've checked the calendar to ensure it's past April 1st. It was April 2nd, by the way, when he reported this. Known insider Tom Henderson has claimed that Sony will release a new piece of hardware before the rumored PS5 Pro. However, it's unclear if he's talking specifically about PlayStation hardware or some other Sony gaming hardware. I don't know what other Sony gaming hardware would not be under the PlayStation umbrella, but anyways, sure. They said we'll hear more about this mysterious Sony PlayStation hardware soon, where he says there will be another piece of Sony hardware that will be released before the Pro. I'm more likely to talk about very soon, he says. So we're probably going to see this, hear about it sometime soon, at least from his report. And he said that in a live stream. And he did later stress that it wasn't an April Fool's joke. So I'll throw up the tweet up on screen so you guys can see exactly what he said. So he did say on April 2nd, for those asking, the new Sony hardware I alluded to in yesterday's stream hasn't been reported on yet. And no, it was not an April Fool's. So it's nothing to do with that. Now, the question is, there are a lot of possibilities of what this could be. Because, right, they're talking about hardware. Also, there's some people like Forbes and different things like that, different outlets that are already jumping on this for like this clickbait. Oh, can Sony U-turn from PSVR 2 and give us the PSP/Vita 2? I mean, dude, Sony has invested so much in the PSVR 2. First of all, why would you want them to abandon it, right? Like, a lot of people are like, oh, VR is not that great. The hype is not really there. It's very niche. Sure. But they clearly believe in the platform. They clearly believe in PSVR 2 to the point where they're willing to invest time and money into this thing, at least to some extent, right? At least for the time being, and I hope it continues. We talked about that in some other videos. But they're not just gonna, it just came out, right? They're not just gonna be like, oh, okay, yeah, well, sales aren't great. Well, forget it. We're just gonna mess over everybody who bought one, early on, and we're just gonna say, didn't work out because the first initial push for sales wasn't good enough. That's stupid. They're not going to do that. That said, can they support both? Of course they could if they wanted to. They're a pretty big company at this point, right? And I think the market would be great for a handheld device. Now, there's other options, and I want to talk about other options in just a second, but quickly let's talk about that, because listen, the 3DS is no longer. 3DS was the king of handheld. It's still to this day. Switch came out, sure, it's a hybrid, but it's not handheld specific, right? Some people, a lot of people picked up the Switch, but maybe some people just want a smaller kind of handheld device. You know, even a Switch Lite, you know, it's more pocket size, but you know, like the Vita is even smaller, for example, right? That said, it could, you know, there's something like the Steam Deck, pretty, you know, chunky. You can't just put that in your pocket. So there's so many different ways to go, but that's the other thing, right? With so many other options out there, like the Steam Deck, and recently, if I could find it here, I was going to make a video just on this, but there was another, I think it was like, was it Asus that announced it? Hold on, right here it says it. Yeah, so Asus has announced basically a Steam Deck competitor, which is going to have 120 hertz 1080p display, and it's yeah, 7-inch display, 16 by 9, so same size of display as the Steam Deck, but it looks smaller than the Steam Deck, and it's going to be running on Windows 11, which is very, very interesting. The Verge actually reported on that as well. So there's a bunch of different mobile options, right? And of course, like we have, like I said, the hybrid of the Switch. I mean, is there too much competition at this point? No, I don't think so. Like I said, I still think there's a place for, you know, exclusive, dedicated handheld gaming, like a PS Vita 2. I think, you know, if they did it right, they supported it, I think it would do very well. I love my Vita. I still have one. You know, it was such a great console, but it's the support that was lacking. Same thing with the Wii U. It had a lot of potential, I think, but the support wasn't there. Unfortunately. So you got to do it right. You got to market it right. You got to support it right. You got to be invested. The other thing is that there are other possibilities, right? They could be anything. Remember the PS3? They had that like TV, was like a 3D TV, and I think you got like Motorsport, whatever it was called. What was it called again? Anyways, it was like that racing game or whatever. I think it was like dirt racing. I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head, but you guys know what I'm talking about? I'll try to throw up a picture on screen if I can find it, but I don't know. Anyways, there's that, right? There's stuff like that. It's like some really random stuff, right? I don't think they would do anything like with PlayStation Move, especially since they have the VR. Highly doubt it, but you never know, technically, right? You never know, but I highly doubt it. You know, there's stuff like that. There's so many possibilities of quote unquote hardware. It could be literally nothing. It could be like the stupidest thing ever. It could be an accessory. It could be like, oh, you know, a PlayStation branded camera or microphone, or I don't know. It could be like literally anything. I have no idea. Just keep that in mind before, you know, we all get, you know, freak out and say, oh, the PS Vita 2 is coming. I know I'm probably going to be titling this video something like, you know, is Sony working on the PS Vita 2 or something? Because that is the question though, right? That is the question. Are they working on like a next handheld, or what is it? Is it something just stupid like I said, a PlayStation themed branded monitor, right? Sony does a lot. Here's the thing, Sony does a lot with TVs, right? With the Bravia TVs and all that. They're one of the best in the TV market with Samsung. Could they make like a monitor, right? A lot of people like the game on monitors nowadays, not big TVs, you know, lower latency, all, you know, closer, small, you know, more personal, whatever. Could they make a monitor? Maybe. That's another possibility, right? If it's a Sony branded thing and it's not necessarily PlayStation, that's a possibility for something that would not be PlayStation hardware, that would fall under the Sony umbrella, not the PlayStation umbrella, because again, Sony TVs, Sony monitors, maybe, and it's like, it could be branded around, you know, that this is a gaming monitor. It'll work with all the brand new, you know, features of the PS5, right? It'll be like HDMI, what was it, 2.1 or whatever compatible. It'll be, or the 2. I'm drawing a blank. I forget 2.1, but you know what I'm talking about. The ones that can support, you know, 4K, 120 hertz, you know, variable refresh rate, you know, all that, right? If it's something like that, that'd be pretty cool, right? Especially if it's like competitively priced. So I don't know. That's what all I wanted to say real quick. I wanted to let you guys know real quick. It's never real quick with me. I just rant. I'm sorry. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments below. What do you think this could be? Whenever we get further reports on it, I'll do my very best to let you guys know and update you guys on the situation. Let me know if you want to see more gaming news. I've been kind of falling off a little bit on that lately because we've been doing a lot of more walkthrough stuff, but I do enjoy just talking about these, you know, news segments and whatnot, and getting your guys' thoughts on these kind of bigger news pieces. So we're still going to do that alongside the other content as well. I know I do a lot. I'm sorry. Thanks for watching though. You guys are the best. Stay safe, stay well, and I'll catch you guys soon. Another one. Until then, friends, game on. Catch you guys later.